Delta 547, wind 19016, runway 22 right, clear for takeoff.
Runway 22 right, clear for takeoff, Delta 547.
Taxi via
Air traffic controllers protect our nation's airways. These are the stories of real air traffic controllers to boldly deliver a safe, orderly, and expeditious flow of air traffic from their departure point to their final destination.
I'm supervising in Lake Charles especially one day, and I heard controller sound a little frantic, and so I go over there and I'm looking down, and there's two of them at 31. They're DAT. I mean, they're head to head, 20 miles apart, 25 miles apart. And so I'm laying down and I said, "What are you doing there?" "I don't know. I just can't think. I can't. So I just my normal a-hole self. I said, "Turn them both right, 50 degrees right now. Turn them both rights." And so turn right 50 degrees, turn right now. And I reached down and I dropped the data blocks because those two goddamn airplanes were about 2.5 miles apart. And they went on past, I cranked the data blocks back up. I said, "Put them back on the route, so we're okay." But I honestly believe if I hadn't said something, they'd have been a lot less than 2.5. About a week or two later, that person was in data systems, and I'm serious. I don't mean any, no demeaning context there. It was and is and was an incredible employee. And every one of you know that person, and I'll tell you her name later on.
Great.
She was an incredible person, a phenomenal employee. That person got just a little bit flustered at that one moment. And we all do. Everybody has. When you got an armpit on fire, you get flustered.
Let me ask you one question. With all the technology we got nowadays, do they even use airways anymore? Shouldn't it be just point to point?
Hardly.
It is.
Some of the routes have been changed to go where the historical tracks went.
Right.
You know, that's so we kind of have routes. They are point to point because they're not based on a radial or anything like that. But they literally followed the historical tracks, and then they started calling them cube routes. So, but they are using RNAV GPS and things like that.
What you're saying, you're not using, or are you using VORs and VOR? Are they gone?
The only reason we need to use a VOR right now is for its DME.
Because the distance.
They do DME, DME. They do the FMS positions it between using DME, GPS, all kinds of things.
They have to detect a DME signal, and they can only coast for so long without a signal and still use that navigational data. It'll use an inertial for 18 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever the criteria is.
Don't get me lying.
Well,
All right.
It's pretty magnificent now. The DME is still there as a backup.
Yeah, and
Really as a backup. More
It's a third or fourth backup now, right?
More GPS.
Yeah.
Mostly GPS and DME.
Yeah.
Well, GPS has evolved in the last 30 years, right? It's evolved where it's
Absolutely.
really damn precise.
So if you have a procedure that's GPS only, it has to be labeled as GPS only.
I would think if they could take and direct one of them satellites all the way to Mars or wherever, they could go point to point in the United States without having airways, and look to me like that'd save gas and time. You know, it'd be cost saving and time saving instead of going by airways or anything like that.
Well, I was of that school of thought for a long time because I thought everybody should go direct. But a lot of times the industry has spent a lot of money on these dispatch computers, and I know out on the west side, we'd get that herd going out to the west coast, and they'd come out J86, which is basically Houston to LA, and we'd cut them up towards Coaldale or somewhere towards San Francisco. As soon as they made that right turn, they'd lose 40 knots ground speed. And the airline said, "Please don't shortcut us. We can go the long way and arrive 18 minutes early because of the wind."
Save fuel.
Yeah, fuel, wind, and schedule and everything else. They spent a lot of money doing that, and they fussed at us for it.
Charlie, what are you doing? Are you still in the agency or doing something? Or?
I was, up until last January 4 last, I was still working with
You were
MITRE.
what?
I was still working with MITRE doing airspace and procedures.
Shame on you.
I'm gonna miss you, Jerry.
Yeah, we are gonna miss him. Oh, God.
Jack, who's the guy that used to work, I think Alex, his last name was Guzman?
Alex Goodman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, when he's at Royer, it reminded me of the story. Guzman worked at Sector, and an aircraft popped up, wanted flight following. And he asked him his position. He wasn't familiar with it. He said, I'm over the Chapaloofa River, Chapalafa River, Chapalaya River. He says, is that how they pronounce it, Senator? Guzman said, no, sir, where I come from, we pronounce it Reaver.
Yeah, it's the Chapalaya River.
Yeah.
Well, that was a story too, coming south to report 3 rivers. Okay, I'm over the first river. I got the second river.
Well, you're talking about that years ago when we had low frequency ranges and we got a VOR there over there at Crestview, Florida, and the old low frequency range was about 15 miles to the east of it. And we'd have the Army coming along there and training, and they'd be flying along, and you know, and if you had to watch out all them trainees, the Navy and the Navy out in the Gulf, and the Army flying along there. Sometimes they'd report the low frequency range for the VOR, you know, and then a few minutes later they'd report over Crestview again, you know, and you say, what the hell, you know, but it, you know, we knew what it was then, but like I say, everything has evolved so much, even the military training and everything else. I can remember out in the ocean, controlling them, the Navy pilots coming off of Corpus Christi and all down there, going out across the ocean out there south of New Orleans and turning around, coming back. They'd get to a turning point, one behind them back there, he'd report to turning point before the guy in front of him, you know. And if you panicked and changed altitudes or done something, you'd get in trouble. But when they got back over to San Antonio Center, it all straightened out again. You just had to be patient with them back in them days, you know.